Good morning.
Good morning, sweetheart.
Well, hi, and welcome, everyone. Dan and I are sharing our coffee, and like we do so often in the mornings, we talk about different aspects of things. And I have just been rereading the book called Good to Great by Jim Collins, and there's some things in this that I'd like to talk about and share with you if you're okay with that.
Yeah.
So if you haven't read Jim Collins' book, it's a fabulous book, and it's really about businesses and which businesses they followed that went from being good businesses to great businesses, and some of the principles and strategies. And so as I was reading through this, rereading it, I was thinking about how this applies to our relationships, because I thought, how often in relationship are there people that are good, their relationship is pretty good, but what would it take to move their relationship to be really great? And I was thinking about how we could apply that in our lives as well. So just the very start of the first chapter, if I can just quote from here, it says, "Good is the enemy of great. And that is one of the key reasons why we have so little that becomes great. We don't have great schools, principally because we have good schools. We don't have great government, principally because we have good government. Few people attain great lives, in large part because it's just so easy to settle for a good life. The vast majority of companies never become great, precisely because the vast majority become quite good, and that is their main problem." So as I was reading this, I was thinking, life, yes, but what about our relationships with our partner? What are the things that we accept as being good and just go, oh, well, it's good enough? And that stops us from moving our relationship to great. What are your thoughts?
Well, for example, we get along quite well, and we have our breakfast together, and then we go our separate ways.
Yeah.
Is that great, or is it just good?
And I was thinking about the times where we allow other stuff to get in the way, and maybe others have had an experience like this, but the times where you and I get so focused on other stuff that we start to take each other for granted.
Like last month. Yeah, we were both running pretty hectic schedules, and although we saw each other and were around each other a reasonable amount, I tended to take you for granted, and I know I wasn't as appreciative as I could have been.
And I with you as well. And so as a result of some of those things, we catch ourselves and say, hold on a minute, we're stuck in this. And yet some of these things too for me are a wake-up call. And so again, as I was just rereading this, I was thinking about how can I become aware of that sooner so that we ensure that we don't get stuck in that rut of busyness and forget to appreciate one another and really take time in our lives to have the two of us be together.
So were there any insights in there about that?
There are a few things. I just wanted to share some stuff from the first chapter, if that's okay.
I'd love to. Yeah.
And we can chat about it, and perhaps we can talk about different chapters as I go through the book.
Now, a really cool thing too is as you listen to this, please respond to us. Send us a note, a comment to this blog, because we'd really like to know your thoughts on this as well, and we can address some of these things down the road. It'd be a lot of fun.
Yeah, a great way for all of us to learn together.
Exactly.
Yeah. So it's kind of like a book club. So one of the things on page 5, it says, can a good company become a great company? And if so, how? And our research for timeless, universal answers can be applied to any organization. So I was thinking about, the good to great. As I read through this, what are some of their business skills that we can apply in relationship that are very similar? So that intrigued me. And then they said, we believe that almost any organization can substantially improve its stature and performance, perhaps even become great, if it conscientiously applies the framework of ideas we've uncovered.
Yeah.
Conscientious maybe being the key word.
Yes, and conscientious and with a level of conscious awareness, because I think that's oftentimes what happens in our relationships. We carry on with stuff, but we're not really aware of some of those underlying things that are going on, just like in business.
Yeah. Well, it's the underlying message is really powerful for me, and something that we've become aware of over the years. Sometimes I will do something, totally intending something, and yet the underlying message that you receive really had nothing to do with what was going on. So for instance, we're sitting here talking and the phone rings and I jump up and I answer the phone. The sense is that our conversation wasn't as important as the phone.
Yeah.
And so you don't matter as much as the person on the other end of the phone does to me.
Yeah, and that's really key, not only in our relationship, but in business that happens too. How many times have you been in a meeting and somebody's phone goes off and they go to answer it, or they pick up their cell phone to answer it right there in the meeting, and the underlying message is that whatever's going on in that relationship in the meeting is just not as important as that telemarketer or whoever might be on the phone.
Well, and it may be a business person, it may not be a telemarketer. However, the point being, you and I are having very focused time here. When we have a business meeting, we're having very focused time. And if our intention is to ensure that that's quality time, then it's about turning off the distractions and really focusing.
Right.
And I think, in our society, that's one of the things right now is we've become more scattered. There are so many things going on around us, and I think in our relationships as well. And so, again, I think these principles may help me to become more aware and more conscious about the things that I do and I will choose to do.
Yeah.
So a couple more points here. I've got 4 more pages highlighted. Here it says, the good to great companies did not focus principally on what to do to become great. They focused equally on what not to do and what to stop doing. And that resonated with me. I was thinking about in our relationship, what things do I need to stop doing? Yes, there are things I need to start doing, but there are things I need to stop doing in our relationship. And so as I process those, I think that's something that I would like to do with you. Maybe we could write some lists of things down that we intend to stop doing. It may only be a few things.
Yeah.
However, those couple of things could have a huge impact.
Yeah. So what about in your relationship? Think about what are some things that you can stop doing to grow your relationship with your partner even further? Good thought.
Yeah. And this one is one we really have already mentioned, so I'll just quickly read it before I move on. Greatness is not a function of circumstance. Greatness, it turns out, is largely a matter of conscious choice.
Yeah.
So the more conscious we become, as we've talked about in our relationship, the more great that relationship becomes, which is really fun and exciting. It's within our power. It's even within my power. The next point says, every good to great company embraced what we came to call the Stockdale paradox. And what that was you must maintain unwavering faith that you can and will prevail in the end, regardless of the difficulties. And at the same time, have the discipline to confront the most brutal facts of your current reality, whatever that might be. What does that say to you?
In a relationship, it means to me that in our relationship, that I'm totally committed to make our relationship work. Regardless of what goes on, the trials and the tribulations, we're going to find a way to make it work.
Yeah, thank you. The next one was, good to great transformations never happened in one fell swoop. Rather, the process resembled relentlessly pushing a giant heavy flywheel in one direction, turn upon turn, building momentum until a point of breakthrough and beyond. And I thought about that in relation to, again, our relationship, and thinking, it wasn't a magic bullet that we swallowed that helped us to improve our relationship. It was those conscious things that we chose to do, pushing that flywheel a little bit at a time until momentum has taken over. And now, yes, there are many things we still continue to work on, but there are a lot of things that have become very easy as a result of that momentum.
And I'm guessing you've experienced that too, that your relationship just didn't get really good overnight, or it didn't get really bad overnight. There was some things that led up to it.
And one final point at the very end of the first chapter says, that good is the enemy of great is not just a business problem. It is a human problem. And in relationship, as we've been talking about, it can be the thing that stops us from really pushing our relationship to greatness.
Right. Thanks for sharing, Carol. I think we should go through this on a regular basis and pick out some really great things. And again, please send us your comments. We'd love to see what you think about it, and pick up the Good to Great book, read it through, and apply it in your relationship. What's good for your business is good for your relationship.
Right. And I'd like to invite you to join us back for our next coffee, and we'll share more of the book.
Have a great day.
Yeah, have a wonderful day.